in your view, what value can these frontier technologies unlock for investors in private markets?
Yeah, efficient, understanding of what different rights are. So fundamentally, if you compare a security in the public market or private, there is a lot more complexity in the private market. Public market is one class of shares in a company. In the private market, so you have preference shares, Series A shares, B, C, liquidation preferences. Basic security itself is much more complex. So giving a simplified understanding rather than reams of paper on a system of what each one of these is a starting point to actually make things simpler. If you're able to record well, you're able to transact on top of it. So first step is actually recording, and that was our first point of entry into building something for these market as a comprehensive solution. Like Sateesh mentioned, it can't be piecemeal, it has to be holistic, and therefore you have to start with one element, but incrementally add multiple elements of digitization to this. And once recording is accurate, then you are actually able to use systems today to match the right set of buyers and sellers. And because you're recording accurately, you're also capturing data with respect to pricing and so on. So in all of this, if you're able to give power back to the company, for the company to allow its stakeholders and for to allow new stakeholders to participate in its ownership, then it becomes a seamless solution and greater amount of access and so on. So it's fundamentally starts with building systems to record this, and then of course there are incrementally, how do you digitize, how do you use dematted shares, how do you use electronic forms of recording and transacting on top of that.
Right. And Sateesh, your views on this as a venture capitalist?
No, I think, Ravi already answered, confluence of technologies, right, that kind of come into play. And we know that, and what I'm going to say is a little bit generic, that's relevant not just to Qapita, but all the companies, right? So if you look at cloud, you look at data science, you look at AI, ML, all of these kind of come into play pretty much, in terms of how do you scale. Eventually, what you're doing is you're building, for lack of a better word, a private institution's cloud, right? Everybody gets to discover everything. Companies get to do stuff in that cloud, investors get to do stuff, employees get to do stuff in the cloud, and that cloud continues to organize itself. So, very, very clearly, all of these emerging technologies, but just outside of, just Qapita's realm, we are seeing, and I'm pretty sure, you folks see this too, a lot of disruption overall, right, in the fintech space, all the way from neobanking to, AI, ML driven asset management companies to, alternate investment platforms, all of these, just driven by new age technologies.
Revolutionize your startup's equity management with Qapita. Request a demo today.